Hi, everyone. So, I'm just going to get right into what I have to say today. It's a bit of a weird episode, I think, but I think all my episodes are weird, so I don't know. So this past weekend, we went to the attic to do squirrel hunting, is what I called it. So, over the past week, since my room is back in the back of the house now, in my room there's a door that goes up to the attic, so I can hear things from the attic pretty easily, versus being in the rest of the house or in other parts of the house. So I've been hearing this scratching, like running. It's not like constant noise, but it's there. So like my mind immediately went to, it must be squirrels up there, because the noise was reminiscent of when I lived in this apartment years ago that I called the dump, because it really was a dump. It was not it was just, oh, that apartment was not the greatest. But anyways, that was when me and Alicia had first started seeing each other. And when I would try to sleep at night, I would hear this gnawing on the wall. And it freaked me the fuck out. And I put like this huge guitar amp that I had in front of the part of the wall in the closet that I was hearing the sound come from. And I remember asking Alicia, like, do squirrels chew through walls? Because I remember the landlord had said that there were squirrels in the walls and they were trying to get them out. So I don't remember if I alerted him to that or the downstairs neighbors or whatever, but I remember Alicia going, no, squirrels don't chew through walls. And she gave me this look like, are you crazy? Well, then we go to move, I don't know, like a handful of months later, is when we moved from there to Syracuse for like a new job. And I remember the day I removed the guitar amp from that part of the closet, and it was like a fucking nest came crumbling out. There was a hole in the fucking wall. So it turns out a squirrel really did chew through the wall, and thank goodness my guitar amp stopped it from coming inside the house. It was pretty heavy, so it couldn't get through. And I showed that to Alicia. I was like, don't you ever fucking tell me that squirrels can't chew through walls again, because I know what I have been hearing for a long time now. Oh my gosh. Sometimes like that gnawing sound, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I dream of it or I hear it and it doesn't exist. But anyways, so I heard similar sounds up in the attic, and that's what made me think it was a squirrel up there. So I told Alicia, I was like, we got to go up there and see what's going on. And then she was like, remember when we got the house inspected a few years ago prior to buying the house? I guess the guy that inspected it said there was a tiny hole up in the attic, like in the roof, and that maybe critters could get through or something. But Alicia said she remembered the hole not being that big, but maybe that's how something got in. So I was trying to get her to go up and check things out by herself, but she wasn't taking my hints. So I realized I'm going to have to go with her, because I guess that's not fair for me to make her go check, but I think it kind of is, because like, doesn't one spouse like kind of have to do stuff like that? And she's that spouse. But I decided I would go with her. So when we went up to the attic to go squirrel hunting this weekend, in my mind, had this picture of what the attic must look like, because we haven't been up there in years, not since that dude inspected the house, and even then we weren't up in the attic for very long, so it's been a while. And I'm picturing just cobwebs, spiders dangling from the rafters, like a whole bunch of critter families. Like, my goal was to cover every inch of exposed skin, because I was afraid, like, what if something jumped at me or fell on me? I want to feel protected. And I told Alicia that I wanted a spacesuit. That was the only way I was going to feel safe, as if I went up there in a spacesuit. And she's like, well, we don't have one. So I needed to come up with something else. And so I put these tall hiking socks on, that went up, like covered most of my calves. And I had sweatpants on. They were the ones, I don't even know why I have these pairs, like, why do I have these pairs of sweatpants? It's got, like, at the bottom, how do I describe this? It's, like, elastic, at the very bottom of the leg part, where, I don't know, it's, like, elastic down there, so, like, it was snug around, like, my shoe. I don't wear stuff like that, so I don't know where those pair of sweatpants came, but anyways, I picked those because there was nothing that was going to crawl up my legs. Then I put 2 t-shirts on. Then I tucked them into my sweatpants, and then I put a sweatshirt on, like a hoodie, and a snow hat, and goggles that I bought at the beginning of the pandemic that we never wore. So I put goggles on over my glasses, and a scarf so it covered like most of my face. I put the hoodie up on the thing. Like, I was just a hot mess. I put winter gloves on over disposable hospital kind of gloves that we have a box of that we bought back when I had my surgery and I had to stab myself with needles. We still had those gloves. So I put a pair of those on, and then I put winter gloves over those. And then I felt like I could go up there. Okay. So Alicia took a picture because I must have looked like a weirdo. And I did, but whatever. I felt safe. So we go up to the attic, and I didn't account for all of the sweating that I was going to do, and the fogging up of the goggles. So I started freaking out and realized I would just have to not wear the goggles because I couldn't see anything with them. But anyways, so we went up there. The attic actually wasn't bad at all. I was surprised that things were still intact. Like, we had boxes and boxes of stuff that we put up there over a decade ago from when we first moved in, like old shit, like shit from our childhoods. So that was interesting to look through. So while Alicia was critter hunting, I was looking through boxes because I wanted to find this mother-daughter book I talked about before. And I found it. And it turned out there's no squirrels up in the attic. Alicia said that they're not nocturnal. They're not nocturnal, I think is what she said, because I was hearing the noises at night. And I was like, well, why didn't you just fucking tell me that to begin with? And besides, like, even though animals are not nocturnal, that doesn't mean that they don't wake up and look for a snack or something. So she deduced that it must be like a mouse or mices. And she was going to set some traps at some point. And I told her, if they're kill traps, I want nothing to do with them because I don't believe in killing animals, even mice. So I told her, you're going to have to buy the traps. You're going to have to set them up there. And then you're going to have to go collect all the dead rodents that you killed and dispose of them because I want nothing to do with that. But anyways, I don't know if she's going to get traps, but we didn't find anything. And sure shit, like an hour later when I was like sitting in my room, I heard the fucking scratching up there. So it was like the mouse was like, haha, bitch. But anyways, I figured let's not waste a trip in the attic. And I don't know, I think I mentioned this mother-daughter book that I used to write in with my mom when I was a kid. And I remembered in my mind what the cover looked like. And I remembered that I at least had that notebook in the attic and maybe one more, but like that was the only one I found, and it's not like I was searching really deeply in the other boxes. So I took the book. And, it's a normal sized notebook. My mom started this because I'm guessing let's see at the beginning of the book. Anyways, sorry, I'm all over the place. So anyways, like, let's just conclude the attic part. There were no squirrels, like I said. There was maybe mouses, and they're just going to have to live up there and do whatever until Alicia figures it out, because I'm not going to kill mice. And so, like, that is done. But now I have this notebook, And on the front of it, it says, don't touch, private. And private is underlined. And my mom wrote, Angela and Mom's book only, mother and daughter book. And this was started on July 15th of 1993. So I was 10. And I thought if I read through this book, because I haven't read through this or looked at it or anything since I was a child, I've just been carrying this around with me, and I think one more might be up there. But I've been carrying this notebook around from like apartment to apartment. It was in the military with me. It just has gone all over the place. And I knew it was up in the attic, and I was curious to see what we wrote because I wanted to try to understand my mom a little bit more and why she's such a bitch. And I thought that maybe it would give me some insight into my childhood. So I'm reading the notebook, right? And I'm like maybe 15 minutes into it because we wrote quite a bit. Like she would write, and then she would do this thing where she asked me questions about myself that I had to answer. And then I answered them in the next thing that I wrote her. And then I asked her questions for her to answer. So it sounds like my mom made this notebook because she didn't understand me. And she thought that maybe I would feel more comfortable writing in a notebook. That's what I'm guessing. But anyways, so do you remember the bathroom episode? So I'm reading. Don't worry, it's not going to get like really serious or anything, even though it sounded like it was going to. Basically, I found the origin story of the fucking bathroom episode. So I'm just going to read to you what my mom wrote. And to preface this, she apparently thought that going to the bathroom in the middle of the night was a privilege. Or like when you're supposed to be sleeping and you get up to go to the bathroom. Apparently she thought that was a privilege. And I was like, what the fuck happened to her when she was a kid? Like, did she get abused in a bathroom or something? Like, something had to have happened. But she was in her early 30s when she wrote this. And I'm like 40, so it's really interesting to read something from somebody that was younger than I am right now. I don't know. But anyways, I was just so surprised to see that this is when it started. My bathroom trauma started at 10 years old. And I'm just going to read to you what she wrote because I feel like I have to just get this out. And the more I verbalize things and talk about this freaking issue, I'm hoping that like someday I stop having bathroom dreams and I stop having anxiety about bathrooms. So anyways, this is what she wrote when I was 10 years old. Well, ... we just came down from putting you to bed. I'm not happy. You took advantage of a privilege, and I'm really disappointed. You wonder why I say no to things? You wonder why I say no to things just when I begin to think you're maturing and you do something real babyish. Instead of going when it's an absolute emergency, I find you do it whenever you want. You're up and messing around at all hours, and not just that, you're disturbing someone else. How could you misuse a privilege like that? I trusted you to act properly and use good judgment, and you use it as an excuse to get up no matter what time it is. You are not ready to decide how much sleep your body needs. I am, and you proved that. Now you need to think about it. Number one, you are misusing a privilege. You don't need to go to the bathroom at the same time every morning. Once you were told you could get up to go when you needed to, you started having to do it every morning. Number two, you disturbed others unfairly. Number three, you are not giving your body enough sleep. I want you to think about this, and I want you to come up with a solution that makes sense. And I want you to explain why you feel it was necessary. And I don't know is an immature answer that a little child gives. You can do better than that. I won't have you taking this out on everyone else, and I don't want you to write anything right away. Think about this first and wait until you don't feel sorry for yourself or mad that you got in trouble. I've told you that for every action, there's a reaction. You want to be treated older, then you need to act it. Okay, enough for now. Tomorrow I'll ask questions and all that. I think you have enough to think about for now. While you think about this, also remember, I may be angry and disappointed, but that doesn't mean I don't love you anymore, okay? Hey, this book is for everything, and what you can't tell me to my face or you're afraid you'll get yelled at, Remember, you can put honest things in this book and express your feelings, and you won't get in trouble. That was our agreement, so be honest, okay? P.S. I know this letter probably makes you mad and maybe embarrassed. That's okay to feel that. It's normal. This fucking bitch. And by the way, the emphasis that I put on some of these words, she underlined those words. So that's why I put emphasis on it. And you want to know what my response was the next day? Dear Mom, I'm sorry about yesterday. I know that you are very mad at me, and I know it is wrong. I don't know why I did it, but please don't get mad. Please don't get that mad at that question. I don't think I asked a question. I know that I won't again, and I won't wake anybody up. It's just that once when I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night when it was an emergency, it woke him up. And when I told you it was an emergency, you got mad and grounded me from something. I won't ever go again, even if it's an emergency. Like, I'm 10 years old, and my mom is making it out like using the fucking bathroom as a privilege or something. Like, I remember, because I would drink a lot of water and stuff, like, and so I remember, like, thinking, I don't know what I was thinking, other than, like, when you wake up and you have to go to the bathroom, it's because of the stuff that you drink, and, like, it doesn't matter when you have to go to the bathroom, you just have to go. And, you know, I just hurt myself. And the fact that I'm talking about this out loud is ridiculous to me. Like, I really would like to know what the fuck happened to my mother when she was a kid for her to write 4 pages about how going to the bathroom is a privilege. And so what I am almost positive happened is because she referred to disturbing him, I am about positive she was referring to my dad because he kept weird work hours. He was a shift worker, and it was always changing. He would work like maybe like a week of days, then he would switch to like a week of swing shifts and then a week of mids. So it was not uncommon to come home from school in the afternoon, and he's been sleeping for several hours because he has to get up and work a night shift. So I'm guessing that, like, I must have made some kind of a noise in the bathroom and it woke him up from sleeping for his shift. And maybe he mentioned it, not even thinking about, like, it, you know, like, I don't know. And then she just, I don't know, thought I did it on purpose or something because I fucking woke the dude up from, like, sleeping for a shift. And she went and did all this. Like, it's so weird and unfair because I had no idea that this started at 10. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, now that I read this, I know, like, I remember the house I was in when we wrote these notes and letters to each other. I remember the bathroom. I remember where all the bedrooms were. And there's a lot, you know, not a lot, but there's stuff from my childhood that I'm like, I don't really remember what that house looks like. But I remember this house because this is apparently where the bathroom trauma started. And this is the notebook to prove that it existed. And the rest of the notebook is like, I mean, half the time she sounds like a normal mother. And then the other half of the time, she sounds like she wants attention from her child. Like, she feels slighted or something like that. And she wants me to keep asking her questions and finding out about her. And I don't know. It's just weird to read. But yeah, I found the origins of the bathroom trauma, and I don't know what to do with this other than bring it to therapy when I go for my next one-on-one session with my therapist and maybe read it there. But I really want to get over this because I'm tired of dreaming of bathrooms. I always dream of dirty toilets. Like, it's kind of funny. It's has been happening for apparently 30 years now. So we've got 30 years with this fucking bathroom trauma bullshit and all these dreams I have that have dirty toilets in them. And there's a part in this notebook where apparently I enjoyed cleaning bathrooms and toilets, and I liked making toilets look so shiny and spotless, as if like you just moved into the house and that's how clean the toilet is. That's what I put in one of my letters to my mom. So I blacked that out. I don't remember like enjoying toilets. This is a very weird thing to talk about, but I really wish that I met somebody else that had a parent that did something like this to them. Like, I will never understand it. I will never understand why it's such a bad thing to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, and why, like, who gets up at 10 years old and fucks around in the middle of the night? What would I do at 10? Like, what am I doing at 10 years old in my bedroom? Like, that's considered fucking around at night. You know what I mean? Like, but she was very controlling, because there were plenty of times I remember she would make us take naps. Like, she would be in the living room watching one of her soaps, and she didn't want to deal with me. Mostly my brother, like, got away with stuff, but she would make both of us take naps, and we would have to lay down on the carpet. We each had a pillow. She was on the couch so she could see us, and I never went to sleep during those naps because she would yell if you moved. Like, apparently you were supposed to stay perfectly still until she decided that you could wake up or get up or whatever. And so those naps were terrifying, because if you moved, you got yelled at. Like, she was just the source of most of my trauma. And, I guess I do have lots to still work through. Which sucks, because I was like, oh, I feel great about my life now and my childhood. And, I guess there's still a whole lot to uncover. So, yeah, I wanted to just get on here and say this out loud. And I don't know how this is going to help me. Hopefully it will. But mainly, like, if anybody can relate to having a parent behave so oddly, weirdly, strangely, about a basic behavior, like, can somebody please let me know it's not just me? Because this has been the one thing I have not been able to shake throughout my life. And I was not prepared to read a letter in here about it. That's not at all what I was thinking I would find in this book. I was just trying to read to understand, like, what was she like? And what I was like was a very curious child. Like, I had so many questions. I kept wanting to know, like, how old do I have to be to go to the store by myself? When are you going to let me do this? Like, why can't I do that? And so I was just constantly, like, pretty much just asking questions about when I can go do things. I'm guessing so I can just get the fuck away from her, because I remember not wanting to be in that house if I didn't have to be, unless I was in my room. But, hopefully this was somewhat relatable. I don't feel any different than I did before I got on here to record, but I guess the point is maybe somebody can relate to it. And if you're that somebody that can relate to this, I really need that email, because this stuff sucks. It's so embarrassing to be like, you're 40 and you're still like having issues about like bathrooms and, I don't know. It's just weird. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say for today. I am going to go look for work, because I don't have any right now. So I'm going to go find some work and have a hopefully decent day. And thanks for listening. Goodbye.